Hi, it's KJ. It's June and it's Pride Month. And I'm here actually with Sam Keller. She's amazing. She's funny, almost as comical as me. And I was talking to her, asking, just some general questions. And I said, Sam, your story is really powerful and it will help a lot of people grow and heal, communicate. So I was wondering if there's any way you could share a little bit of insight about your journey with listeners. Sam is a dynamic individual. She's got her master's in counseling. Am I correct?
It's higher education, student affairs.
Okay, master's in student affairs, higher education. She is a former basketball player.
Hmm.
All right, former basketball superstar, and she's also a superstar. No, just kidding. Nobody knows, Sam. We won't tell them. We won't tell them where you live. We can sell autographs and play it off.
True.
But she's also a survivor of ADHD and general anxiety, and that is very, very commonplace within the LGBTQIA community. Just a couple of stats about them, about the community. Uh, with regards to teens, there was a recent Trevor Project report. And in the Trevor Project report, they said that with teens, there's about a 75% rate of anxiety, 60% rate of depression, 45% of youth seriously consider suicide. And the reason why they're actually considering suicide is because once they come out, the treatment, the scrutiny, the stigma of their new life is tough. Actually, it says that in between the first 5 years of coming out, approximately 60% of individuals in the LGBTQIA contemplate or attempt suicide. So this is a very serious matter as we continue to talk about mental health, we talk about solutions and healing. I also wanted to mention that there are approximately 1.7 million individuals within the LGBTQIA community, approximately 8%, 7 to 8%, and 58% of, I'm sorry, 58, nope, I'm not gonna even go into that number. But anyway, the bottom line, I'm sorry, here it is. Between the ages of teens to age 25, they actually make up 43% of the transgender community. So it's a very young population. They're our next generation. So, we need to sit back, listen, and figure out how to just make it right? How to move forward, how to reduce some of the mental stressors, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations that are continuing to happen. So Sam, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Yeah. So Sam's really cool. I told everybody she was my boss. We were trying to get donuts. No, cookies, right? Cookies.
Yeah, cookies at Subway.
Remember he gave us like two tubs of,
yeah,
there were so many
did.
cookies. Yeah, there were so many cookies we wound up giving them to a group of homeless people. But Sam is from Florida. And Sam, tell us a little bit about growing up in Florida. What was it like?
Oh, growing up in Florida. So I grew up in a small town called Cantonment, Florida. It's near Pensacola, Florida, in the Panhandle, but it's like 5 miles from the Alabama border. So very tip top of Florida. And growing up, it was interesting. You live near a beach, so you go to the beach. Sometimes your mom just checks you out of school early, and you go to the beach. But it wasn't my favorite place at the time because it was just so much like I came from Utah, like I was born in Utah and I lived there till I was 5. So when I moved to Florida, it was like a drastic difference type thing. And I always just thought growing up that I didn't like Florida, but I just realized I didn't like the panhandle of Florida. But I learned that when I went to college. But Florida's a cool place. It has bad things like every state, but there's good things too.
Yeah, I saw when I looked up your town, I Googled your town, I saw all kinds of fishing camps.
Yeah, there's fishing, there's
fishing programs.
hunting. My high school was like an ag school, so we had like cows and pigs and chickens and like all these animals. Yeah, so
At the school, like on the school
at the
campus.
school. Mm-hmm.
Get out! What
Yeah.
did you milk a cow and stuff like that?
No, I didn't. I wasn't. It was for like the agricultural kids. There was like an ag program, but it was not me.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I love to milk a cow. Woo woo. Little milk for you. Little milk for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Spread the milk around. So, so you were growing up, and when you were growing up, you were telling me beforehand that you played basketball.
Yeah, basketball was my main sport that I played. Yeah.
So, how active were you in basketball?
I was pretty active. So I played it ever since I was 5. And then I think around the age of like 11 or 12, I was playing basketball and soccer like pretty competitively, like in all the leagues around town. And then I got offered to play travel basketball and I got offered to play travel soccer. And my mom was like, we can't afford both. You got to choose one. And I was like, okay, I choose basketball. So I really played basketball for years till I was like 17 years old. Um, and I did high school basketball, middle school basketball, high school basketball, varsity as a freshman. And then I did travel basketball still a couple of years in high school as well. But yeah, pretty big into basketball.
So, were all your friends kind of like your I mean, you're not coworkers, but your teammates and stuff like that, or?
Sometimes. So high school was weird. It was hard. My basketball team in high school wasn't the nicest. I got bullied a lot by them. And it really did shape who I am today, like that whole experience. So it's weird because you're supposed to like get along with your teammates or like trust your teammates and things like that. And I didn't at all. So it kind of ruined my love for basketball slightly. Like I didn't even play my senior year of high school because of how bad it was. Like I was like, I can't do it another year, even though it'll be my senior year.
So, what is bullying? Like we often hear, this person is being bullied, blah 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 blah. What is it?
It's like verbal abuse. That's how women do it most of the time. Just like saying little snide comments or saying like "you're a piece of shit, Sam," like things like that all the time, or like little racist comments. So I'm Asian, and so if I would miss a pass or make a bad shot or something, they'd be like, "God, Sam, open your eyes." Like I know they're tiny, open your eyes. Like little things like that, and then just excluding you from things. Um, more exclusion of just like we're gonna isolate you and we're us, you're them, you're over there.
Why do you think you were excluded?
Because I hated confrontation. I was an easy target. Like I think back to it and I was like, wow, I was such an easy target because you could say or do pretty much anything to me back then and I would just take it. I would just let it happen.
Do you think that comes from the church background, going to church all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, that and then just coming from a divorced family, that takes part. Sorry, my dogs are playing over here in the corner and they're
Hey,
being loud.
dogs.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, dogs.
But yeah, church and divorced family background. Um, and then like I had an older brother. He's like 5.5 years older than me, and he had a lot of like mental issues too. So a lot of time was just taken by my parents, well, my mom and my stepdad, to focus on him. So I just learned how to just stay quiet and just like be by myself. So I think that was part of it too.
So
But really
where
just
did
because I hated confrontation.
so where did you get the support doing this, or where did you, if you have all this weight, what made you happy?
um At that time, not a lot. To be honest, it was not a fun time. Like, definitely thought about committing suicide a couple times. High school's a rough time, especially then. Like, also trying to figure out my sexuality because I was like, all my friends are over here dating boys. Why aren't I into boys? Or like trying to force myself to be into boys. But I just worked a lot too. Like, I had a job since I was 15. So I would just focus more time just making money and then hanging out with a couple friends I did have. That was still really fun. And like I would do other sports. Like I like to skateboard, so I would go skateboard. That made me happy. Or listen to music, anything like that.
Just keeping busy.
Yeah, literally just keeping busy.
So when it came time for the senior prom,
Yeah.
did you go with someone?
No, I didn't go to my prom. First off, in my town, there wasn't a big enough space to hold as many students as we had, except like the town civic center. And it was like $10,000 to rent. And we're poor high school. Like Escambia County, where I grew up, is the second poorest county in the state. And so, of course, my high school couldn't afford it. And so we would have prom in our gym. And I was like, I don't want to go to the gym. Secondly, I thought prom was kind of dumb. And then I think back to it, and it was because like I didn't want to have this pressure of like having to go with like a boy because I didn't want to. And also like I was never the type of girl that a lot of boys hit on anyway. So it was just like this weird like dichotomy thing going on. Um, so I just avoided prom. I was like, I'm not going to prom. It's okay. I was on prom committee. I helped set it up and plan it, and it was great, but I didn't go to it. I just went to the after parties.
Here I am.
The true thing, the important things.
Did you ever date anyone of the opposite sex? Did you ever date a guy?
I mean, I don't really count high school dating because like I had, I guess, one boyfriend, but it was like 2 months, and like I didn't even kiss the dude. So like no, I don't really consider myself being with anybody. Like I don't have really any exes because I didn't go through like a real relationship. Like my wife is the first person I've ever been in a relationship with.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when did you think you would want a wife? Like how did that come about? How did that evolve?
That's a question, Kelly. I mean, in college is where I started becoming more comfortable, like my sexuality and like talking about it. I noticed like my freshman year, I had a lot of gay friends, and I was like, oh, okay. And then just like talking more about it, and then just having people there who were able to just like answer questions I had, and I was also kind of deconstructing out of Christianity at the same time too, because
What do you mean
that's
deconstruct?
where like getting out of it, like trying to unlearn everything I was taught in Christianity because I didn't believe it anymore in my evangelical Baptist bubble that I was in. Um, because I was taught growing up that being gay is wrong. If you're gay, you're going to hell. Like, I remember literally people telling me at church, like, oh, we accept everyone here in this church except gay people. They're not allowed here. And so it's like, oh, okay. So a lot of internalized homophobia. So I really worked through that through college. And then by my junior year, like I was out and I was proud. And I knew for sure that I was going to marry a woman.
Wow. Did you so did you ever go back to the church or revisit the church?
Yeah, I did go back. Hold on. Hey, stop. I did go back a couple times, and I pretty much got told like not to come back. Yeah, because gay people don't belong there. So yeah, and then my friends who like were my church friends, right? Because I was in this church for years. Like it was a huge part of like what I was doing and like my identity. Um, and I my friends just stopped inviting me to things, like just slowly stopped inviting me to things, and I was like, okay, I get the picture. You're not going to hang out with me because I'm gay.
How did that make you feel when your friends started to, did that make you isolate yourself more, or did that make you rethink who you were? Or I mean, what?
No, at that point, because I was just so comfortable and happy to be like out and living like my true self, who I've been repressing for years. I was just like, damn, like they're exactly who I thought they were. Like it didn't surprise me at all. Of course, it hurt a little bit. I mean, I think it would hurt anybody. But I kind of just laughed it off because I was like, look, this is who I am now. If you don't want to be friends with me, okay.
I think it's the polarization is so interesting when you say that you're in this world or when you're living your daily life and people are critical, you know, they don't want to hang out with you, and this, and then you walked into who you are, and now you're getting all this love and everybody's embracing you and everybody's supporting you, and finally you don't have to do it all alone.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
it
did
was
that,
great.
yeah, I mean, I mean, were you amazed by the support that you got? I mean, were you?
Yeah, yeah, I was amazed, but I think also because of the environment I was in college at USF in Tampa, like I was just around a bunch of accepting people, and I already had like a queer community of friends that I had. And then I'm also very lucky that my mom and my stepdad are super accepting of it. My mom was kind of like, I've been known. I was just waiting for you to tell me. And I was like, hey, mom. Um, But I remember even like standing up in my sorority chapter meeting. I was in a sorority in college, surprise.
Before
And
or after you came out?
it was, so this is me coming out to them. So I stood up in chapter meeting in front of everybody. So like 120 people. And I was just like, hi, I have an announcement. I'm gay. And it was great because everyone was just like super excited. And they're like, that's awesome, Sam. We love you. And then other people were like, we knew. And so I was like the first open out one in my sorority. But then after that, I had like 15 sisters privately come out to me. So I was just like, oh, there's a lot of queer women in sororities. Um, and so it was really cool to just be able to like have my sisters be super accepting. So like my senior year of college for my formal, I took Megan and everyone like loved it. Like
Your wife?
yes, my wife.
Oh, so you started dating in college.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. I wanted to backtrack on one thing.
Yeah, sure.
How did you tell your parents? Like, what did you do? Did you sit down and talk? I mean, like, how long did it take? Tell me the story. How long did it take to tell them, you
Yeah,
know?
it didn't take very long. So I like came to terms with it and I think I was going home like the next month or something. And so I just literally sat them down at the table at our house. And I was just like, hey, like, I'm gay. And I at first actually came out as bisexual because I was still having this um, um, confusion in my head of like, oh, well, do I think men are attractive or am I attracted to them? Like, I can think someone's attractive but not be attracted to them. And so I was still battling that. And so, but after like a year or so, I was like, oh no, I'm definitely a lesbian. But I came out to them as bi at first, and then yeah, they were super accepting of it. They're just like, okay, doesn't change anything, and I was like, great, thanks, love y'all.
I love that. I love that. And I'll say this, and I'm just speaking transparent because you know how I talk.
Yeah,
I think that sometimes women can be afraid or have questions when they're with a lesbian woman because they're going to think, oh, well, now she's going to like me. Like, like, did you ever feel like that? Like, people are like,
I,
oh my gosh, she's a lesbian, she's going to like me. Or you're like, really,
I
chick? You're
only
not my type.
right, literally, I only had that happen with like one person, and it was literally that. I was like, don't flatter yourself, like, but okay.
Have you seen my wife? Wait a minute, you are not my type.
Yeah, yeah. But no, that
Wow.
doesn't happen too often. I feel like that's a like a myth, or if it does happen, it might be like middle school or something because kids are mean.
Yeah. But Sam, I think that you are so like, there's no question. Like, you're like, I'm a lesbian, that's it. There's some people
Yeah.
who are, there's subtleties and they don't
Hmm.
know whether or not they are. And that's where I think that, like I said, some people are like, that person hit on me or, whatever. And so I used to go to the clubs in New York and there were a lot of gay people there, but I didn't know anybody was gay, believe it or not. So
Mm,
what happened was my senior year in college, we were watching a TV show, Oprah, and
oh
a
yeah.
gorgeous guy came on, and um, my hallmate was named Chris, and Chris was like, he's fine. I would do him. I was like, oh my God, Chris, you're gay. You're gay. Tell me all about gay. I never met a gay person. Tell me, what do you do?
Oh my god.
And everybody laughed. They're like, there goes Kelly. But
No.
I was asking him, when he came out and how he came out, and he was telling me, he's like, look, you know what? My uncles were, these people were. And so when I came out, it wasn't an environment where I was ostracized.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah, no one in my family that I know of is gay. I'm the only one that I know of. And
You
so,
always
but
have to be the only one. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
know, I know, I know. But my mom's just so loving and accepting of like everything, and like I always knew she was an LGBTQ plus ally anyway, so I didn't really have an issue with it. And my stepdad, like, he's pretty chill too, right? So like he's pretty religious, so he might think one thing when it comes biblically, but I think even myself has changed his mind and opinion on some things when it comes to just the LGBTQ plus community. So that's good. That's all we can do.
Yeah. After college, we had there was a young girl that came from Africa to the US to get a, um, to get a, not, I'm going to say a sex change, but I don't know if that's the right word, but she was a hermaphrodite. So I'm sorry, Z was a hermaphrodite. And the parents wanted her to be a girl. So they had her in a dress and everything, and she played with my daughter. And shortly afterwards, like a day later or 2 days later, I was like, well, where's Z? Like, or why isn't she coming back? Or why isn't the person coming back? And the response was that Z decided to be a boy instead of being a girl. And that was where I started to say, you know what? There aren't the absolutes. It's not you're either heterosexual or you're homosexual. There's a spectrum, there's range. And, I think that the more that we talk about what people are doing, what people are thinking, et cetera, out there, the range, some people may be confused, et cetera. I think we can help. I mean, do you think that that could possibly help with some of the suicidal ideations and the insecurities and the anxiety? I mean, you had support, so you were able to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, like I was very lucky because I did have support. I mean, I still had hate coming no matter where. Like any pride parade you go to, there's people there with signs and yelling at you that you're going to hell and like you're screwed and all this shit. And then yes, 2 days ago it was yesterday, was the 6th year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub shooting, right? And so there's all this hatred everywhere. And so whether I got it from my family, so like I said, very lucky, but I still face it every day and all this stuff. Like they're about to overturn Roe versus Wade. They're coming for marriage equality next. They mentioned it. And so I kind of missed the first part of your question though. Do I think what helps with insecurities?
Communicating, talking more support groups,
Yeah,
just
definitely.
just having an opportunity for people to hear and understand what some of your challenges may be.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the cool part about like the queer community in general is like we all have different experiences, but we all have shared experiences too, right? I think every group community has that. You all bond and have similar shared experiences, and that makes you feel less alone. So I think that's really good. I also think it's really important for people who are heterosexual to also educate themselves on certain topics when it comes within the LGBT community. Um,
And ask
Especially when it comes,
questions like me, right?
yeah, ask questions. um
What are
yeah,
some of the
literally
things
just
that
ask questions.
what are some of the things that you would want someone to know from the heterosexual community? What are some of the things that you might want a parent to know who has just found out that their child is um, LGBTQIA? I mean, what are some of the words of advice? Because you made a huge stride. Like I said, we can't take that lightly. Suicidal ideations, ADHD, anxiety. I mean, there were a lot of things that you were able to overcome.
Still
And
doing it though, still doing it.
but the thing is, guess what? You didn't give up.
No, no.
And there are statistics out there that talk about individuals giving up. So many kids giving up, they can't take the bullying, they can't take the stress. And it's a reality. I was just reading an article the other day about a young man, and the mother is still trying to educate on his behalf. He's a young African-American man, or a high school student, whatever, and he just could not take the bullying with him being homosexual, and he wound up committing suicide. So I
Yeah,
say that to say that as we're talking about healing, helping people heal, what would you say to a parent who's trying to figure it out?
I would say the parents, especially the ones that are like struggling, like it if it's however it's hard for you, take that feeling of how hard it is for you, it's twice as hard for your kid. Because they're the ones who have to live with it, right? And so especially to the ones, because I grew up in a religion where sexuality is a choice. I don't know anyone who would choose to live in a society that oppresses them just based on who they like, who they love. or you have those high statistics put against them, right, with the suicide rates, and even have risk losing family members and security and all that stuff. Like, no one would choose to do that. So when someone comes out, it really is them just living their true authentic self. And so as hard it is for parents, it's twice as hard it is for the kids. And they need to know that. And both need to be patient with each other, right? Because parents, it's natural for them to think about where they think their kid's life is going to go as a parent. And they have a plan for them, right? And so when something gets thrown in there that messes up that plan, um, it's a shock and it can take a second, and that's okay. But also, if you're a parent, I fully believe that if you chose to have children, you should love them no matter what they do or say. Um, and so, yeah.
Why did you give it all up? All those things that you're talking about, the security, why did you give it up?
Because I was tired of like not living who I truly was, and I was just not happy. So
How deep was the pain? What was the turning point? What was it? I can't do this anymore.
I don't know. I can't think of like a pinpoint reason, honestly, Kelly. It's just like I think it was accumulation of like a lot of things. Like I think I maybe had like a crush on a girl or something, and then I was just like, I'm tired of acting like I don't like girls. Like, why am I doing that? And then really be able to just talk stuff through with my gay friends. Like my best friend Juan, he's a bisexual guy, and we would be talking about all this stuff. And he really helped me, and just being surrounded by people who love and supported me no matter what. And they were there to be like, it's okay if you like girls, it's okay if you're gay. And I'm like, wow, it is okay, I'm gay. And like I said, just reconstructing everything I learned from Christianity and being like, that's not true.
And Sam, I want to say something. I used to be a deaconess at my church and I may have already told you this story, my deaconess in my church in New Jersey. And there was a young lady who said to me, there was another Christian there, not at my church, but the three of us were in an environment working together. And another young lady was at a church, and she was saying, "Oh, you're bad because gay people, and we don't accept gay people to church, and da 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 da," and all this criticism. And she says, "See, Miss Kelly, that's why I don't go to church." I wasn't that much older than her, but
Yeah, yeah,
"See,
yeah.
Miss Kelly, that's why I don't go to church. See how they treat me?" And I said, "You know what?" I said, XYZ, whatever her name is, let's say Bobby. I said, "Bobby," I said, "look at this." I said, um, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your savior? Do you believe he died on the cross?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Do you believe that God forgives you for your sins and he loves you?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Well, guess what? There are churches out there with people just like you that I can't get to because I don't understand homosexuality the way that you do. I don't understand some of the challenges." I said, "So guess what? The church needs you because there's somebody in there who's hurting that your ministry, your walk can help heal." Right? So I told her, I said, "Don't shy away from church because God can use you. God wants to use you. He wants to use us all." So I say that to you, Sam. I mean, you're dynamic. You're almost as funny as me. Don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of the biggest hearts in the world. Um, I just thank you for being my friend. Um,
Yeah.
don't ever discount where God can use you because you're amazing. And I'm quite sure this interview today will help some people heal and go beyond where they where they are. And that's what it is. We just need to open minds, help people heal, and provide the support that's needed. Because once again, the majority of the suicides that are being committed are after people come out. Suicidal ideations and attempts are after people come out because of the way they're treated and the stigma.
Yeah.
And if we can
It's
change the
not
mindset.
Yeah, it's not just the suicides though. It's just like the violence that people in the LGBT community face from other people. So trans women of color are killed at a higher rate than anybody else in this country. They're not doing it themselves. Other people are doing it against them. And then just hate crimes that happen. What was it like? 3 days ago, there was that U-Haul of white militia supremacist men that got caught in Idaho on their way to a pride event. And there were like 30 of them in a U-Haul on their way with riot gear and weapons. So it's all these other things on top of just suicides, right? But then you have just these little fears like every day, or just like, wow, people are really just targeting people based on who they like. It's just the same reason like people are targeting Black people just because they're Black. It's like, why? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I think the bottom line is more communication, more understanding, and just, like I said, opening the doors, because so many people have questions and they don't know where to go to ask those questions. I'm talking about parents, I'm talking about kids. They don't know where to go to ask those questions. So hopefully, prayerfully, this will be a vehicle for more people to really rethink some of their thoughts,
Oh
you know?
yeah, and yeah, education is important. Like I'm a firm believer of in asking questions of like you can ask ignorant questions if your end goal is to learn, right? Because we don't know what we don't know. So you have to ask those questions. And it's okay. Like I said, if it's an ignorant question, but you're trying to learn, okay, cool. I'm fine with that. And most people are, especially people in the queer community, because it's like I said, you don't know what you don't know. So yes, ask questions. Just be respectful about it, right? Don't ask a question but be like, I disagree with it. No, ask a question if you're willing to learn. If you're not willing to learn, then maybe just shut your mouth. Honestly, that's what I think.
That's my Sam. That's my Sam. Get to the point.
Yeah.
So, well, Sam, is there anything else that you think that either people who are going through, who are transitioning, um, and understanding who they are, or parents or the community should know? Because once again, I'm talking about the crucial moment is after, after the acknowledgement. What, what would you say?
I know it sounds cliche, but like you are not alone. Whatever you're going through, someone's gone through it too. And there is a huge community of people who are there to support you. There's a lot of hotlines, there's a lot of free counseling. There's LGBT youth centers pretty much scattered most places. Unfortunately, they're more towards bigger cities. I know it's harder in like conservative, like smaller rural areas, but there's always hotlines, there's always people. The internet is a can be a toxic place, but it can also be a very loving place as well. You just got to find the right people. And it does get better. It always gets better. The best thing about hitting rock bottom is you only can go up. Best part about hitting rock bottom is you can only go up.
And if you need to call the helpline, you can call as many times as you need, right?
Yep. 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Is there a helpline for parents? I meant to look that up. I thought there was.
There might be. I think the Trevor Project might have one, or P-Flag, parents and families of lesbian, gay, and gay people. They might have something, but I know there's also like parent support groups in towns too, on Facebook and things like that. So yeah, I know my mom joined them when
Did
I
she
came
really
out.
go, Mom?
Yeah, oh yeah, my mom's like a huge ally. She's like, let me join all these parents and like Facebook groups with like parents with gay kids, and I said, okay, Mom.
Go, Mom.
Yeah, she's cool.
Sam, is there anything else that you can think of that I would need to share? So you're married.
I'm
You,
married.
you're married. And how long have you and your wife been married?
So we've only been married since October of 2021, but we've been together for like 6 years. So yeah, like I said, first relationship ever.
Wow.
Divorce family. It really just messes with your perception of relationships. So, but it's true. You do meet the right person and it really changes your whole perception. So it's wild.
Excellent. That's why you're so happy all the time.
Try to be happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, you are just, like I said, you're positive, energetic, almost
Thank
as comical as me.
you.
Keeping that.
Almost,
Gotta,
almost.
gotta keep everything in perspective.
For sure.
And just a powerhouse, really and really truly. So
You are too, Kelly. You are too.
thank you. Thank you. I did pay her to say that. I just want you guys to know that.
I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm
I
dead.
paid her. Check is in the mail. But
Yeah. I
but
will say, can I leave you with a tip?
please.
Just because I would feel bad if I didn't. So the term hermaphrodite, like we don't use that anymore.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Tell me that stuff.
Yeah,
Tell me
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff.
We don't
So,
use that term. It's a derogatory term, but it's just
oh, I'm so
someone who's
sorry.
it's okay. It's just someone who's transgender, right? So they don't identify with the body they were born in. So they transition. It's not a sex change anymore, I guess technically, but it's just a transitioning,
No, no, no. This person
transgender.
was actually born with both parts
So
of the anatomy.
intersex.
I knew that word. I knew that word. I knew
Okay.
that word. I knew that
Okay.
word. I'm so
Sorry, I
sorry.
thought we are
I'm
talking about different things.
No,
Okay,
they
yeah,
were actually,
intersex.
she
That
was
makes
actually
sense.
born with both parts of the body,
Okay,
or
cool.
they.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anything else? Tell me something else. And so I learned about dead naming. Look, I started Googling stuff, dead naming and fruit
Yeah.
fly and
Yeah. And I'm not like a spokesperson for the trans community because I am not
oh man, I thought
transgender.
you were.
I know, no, I'm not transgender, but yeah, like, you know, I think anybody just wants to be talked to and use the name and pronouns that they identify with. And so um it's really not hard to do. So just respect people and how they want to be identified and called and what they feel like. And um it's okay to
It's
mess
almost
up. It's
simply.
okay to mess up. We say in our office all the time that because some people use they them pronouns. If you mess up, acknowledge it, correct it, and then move the fuck on. Like it's not that hard.
And it's always okay to say sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally,
sorry is
literally.
a good word, you know.
Yeah.
So, well, Sam, I just wanted to say thank you once again. Like I said, I just want to provide insight for parents, support for individuals, support for communities who are transitioning, because there's a large population of individuals who are who are um, affiliated with redefining themselves with
Yeah.
LGBTQIA. And so if that is becoming more and more prominent, we need to be aware and sensitive and supportive, because the reverse can have very destructive results. So I'm going to ask you if you could just do me one favor and tell me once again some of those support lines that you know of that are good and reputable, because sometimes they're crackerjacks things that can pop up and you don't want somebody to call the wrong type of support place and get the wrong information.
Sure. So I know the main one, the best one's the Trevor Project. Trevor, Trevor Project. They have hotlines there on their website. I don't have the number right in front of me, but they're really good. Human Rights Campaign is really good as well, just fighting for in legislation for the LGBTQ plus I community. Um, and for parents, PFLAG, I think that stands for Parents and Family of Lesbian and Gay
Okay.
People. PFLAG is a really helpful group too for parents and family members, right? They need support as well.
Yes, yes, yes. So excellent. And I'm quite sure people from the community can also call, like aunties and
Oh,
uncles
yeah.
can still find out about more about the LGBTQIA.
Yeah, for
So
sure. For sure.
Sam, thank you so much once again. You're
Thank you.
amazing.
You're awesome. Thanks for having me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Happy,
hear that. What you say? I am
you're
what?
awesome. You're awesome. Happy Pride Month.
Wait, my hearing. What was that? I am. No,
Oh my gosh. Don't get a big head, Kelly.
Sam, thank you once again and happy Pride Month.
Thank you.
Take care.